Hi, welcome to Adventuring for Knowledge. This is Adventure Call number 1.
Guess what? This is Adventure Call number 2.
And what comes after 2, Manny?
Is it 3?
Yep, you got it. It's Adventure Call number 3.
Last call. Welcome to our podcast.
It's adventure time.
Button clicked.
Button click.
We're live?
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. So, Manny, who do we have here today?
We have Derek.
Mr. Derek Powell.
Thank
Pleasure.
you. Pleasure. Thank you for...
I've known Derek for how long now, hey?
I don't know, you tell me. How long have you known me?
I've known Derek probably for 15 years.
That's about right.
Really?
I'd say.
Yeah, probably since I was... But then we built a relationship probably 10 years ago. No, less. You 21.
That was
10. 10?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because you were younger than everyone else on the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you played soccer with Bodie?
He coached me.
I coached.
Yeah, coached and played.
And then we played together.
Yeah, we played.
Yeah.
Because I trained with Div 1 with Steph.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I've known Derek and his brother Gary. I don't know your parents that well, or your other brother, but I know him and his brother Gary pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Know for a long
Yeah.
time. And yeah.
And this is the
And
first
here- and
time
here we are.
meet. Yeah, here we
Yeah.
are. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Taking
Pleasure.
the time in a nice Sunday.
Yeah. Beautiful Sunday.
Weather starting to get really nice here in Victoria. And so Derek, we would like to get deep within your life, and we want to know from your childhood, and then from there what you do, how you got into the things that you do, your involvement with the community. You say you're part of the board of the Mall Street Market. We just figured that out. And then we'll expand on anything that
Comes up.
that comes
within
up.
our
Yeah.
conversation.
We
yeah,
have a couple of
for
questions,
sure.
but
Great.
We got a couple questions written down.
whole
A page and a half.
And all the other ones that you haven't even written down yet.
it's on the phone.
but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. No,
So
what
tell us.
otherwise? Take the floor.
Oh, so you just want me to start?
yeah,
Yeah,
introduce yourself.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, my name's Derek Powell, otherwise known as Mr. DP when I'm in the hip hop world.
When you're on stage.
When I'm on stage or in the studio. I'm from Victoria, grew up in Gordon Head. Have lived other places in the world, but this is definitely home.
Yeah. Where have you lived?
The Okanagan a little bit, and in Europe a little bit. That's really it.
When you were young, right? Early 20s in Europe?
No, later 20s.
Later 20s in Europe?
In Europe.
Okay.
But I guess mid.
Yeah.
And then before that was in the Okanagan.
You just
early
wanted
20s.
to experience something new
Did
or
you go
escape?
Did you go to pursue music in Europe?
No.
No?
I went I went to Europe on a one-way ticket.
Nice.
Nice.
I was planning on just living there, working my way through,
Yeah.
because I have an EU passport from my dad.
Oh, yeah.
And the plan was just to explore Europe and farm and learn
Nice.
about farming.
yeah.
I landed in Spain where my brother was and stayed there for about 8 months.
In a farm? You worked in a farm or?
Yeah, I worked in 3 different places, but not for work, not for pay, just for like exchange.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Was it
Just-
called, that's woofing,
Yeah,
right? Was
yeah.
it called woofing back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really old organization actually. Not
Really?
really old, but fairly. It's not new.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so you go in there, you do the work, and they pay you with food, shelter.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and,
Oh,
and
love
good
it. Heard of that
company
concept?
and
No, I haven't heard it.
Really?
yeah,
And is this and Woofing is the organization?
yeah, worldwide opportunities on organic farms.
Oh man,
I can't believe you haven't heard of woofing.
I've never heard it. Hope
Yeah.
is gonna love this because
Oh yeah,
we want to just get out and experience the world.
and it's
What a better way.
it's a wonderful way to travel,
Yeah,
which I found out because you pay to get there,
yeah,
and then once you're there, in terms of money, it's cheap
yeah.
because you don't have to spend much while you're there. In fact, some places will actually pay you a bit. Or
Nice.
give you some money, like, oh, we're going out tonight. Let me buy you a meal. Let me, do something
That's
for
so
you.
cool.
Just like they treat you like family, kind of, right? And then the best part about it is learning the culture, the food, the language.
Yeah.
of that place from people who live there,
And
as
this
opposed to being in the realm of hostels and hotels.
Right,
And
where it's just
that
a
same,
party
it's the
scene
same
with
same
same
scene
people,
anywhere
yeah.
you go. It's
Yeah.
the same thing, which is dope as well. But
But you're there for a different reason.
That's
You
right.
want to experience what locals
Yeah.
experience.
And
right.
this is all around the world or certain countries?
every country, well, most countries
Yeah.
I'd say have it. So you sign up for one country at a time. And you
And
pay
it's-
a small fee to be a member for a year, and then you get a list of all the farms that are participating and their addresses and contact info and what they're all about.
I'm
you
gonna do this.
Yeah,
I'm
you have
letting
to.
you know
You
right
have
now.
to. Yeah. I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah.
Now being like an experienced farmer, I did it a few years ago in Austria where my brother lives now.
Nice.
I just took a bit of my time there to go and spend some time on another farm, and that experience was incredible. That
Yeah.
was by
That sounds
far
so nice.
not the best experience on a farm, but the best woofing experience because I had skills to offer.
Yeah,
I wasn't
exactly.
just there to learn. I was just
there to teach as well.
Yeah.
You probably had techniques that they didn't know about.
Yeah. And
vice
he
versa.
could just give me a job and like send me off and not worry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was unskilled, it would be something that he would have to check up on and make sure everything was
Right.
running right. And
That is nice.
yeah, so we got time to spend building a relationship as opposed to him trying to make sure things were done right.
Right.
Which was wonderful. It
Yeah,
was such a good time.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
you-
because instead of the time spending, say, okay, Derek, this is how you use a shovel.
That's right. That's right. I would see something. I'm like, hey, I could do that. Would you like me to do that? I think we should do that. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Go do that.
That's awesome. So you did this woofing experiences.
Yep.
Why? Why did you want it to go away? Why did you want it to farm? I mean,
I was just ready to explore.
yeah.
And I saw Europe as a good option because my brother was there. I had a passport. I wanted to travel. I'd saved a bunch of money. I was just ready to go. I wasn't planning on coming back here at all. And then while I was woofing in Spain, I realized farming was something that I wanted to do for myself and as a business. And then I thought, okay, well, where am I going to do it? And the place that made the most sense was to be here, to come back to Victoria.
Totally.
I had a great community here already, lots of friends, lots of access to different things that help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming back here was the choice. So I lasted eight or 9 months. I did a little more traveling after Spain and then came back. And
With a mentality of opening your own farm.
yeah, and it's funny, I thought I knew how to farm by that point. But I took an apprenticeship at a seed saving farm, which was kind of like woofing as well. But I lived in a little cabin. They showed me how to do things, and I did stuff for them. And that was with Carolyn Harriet. She's really well known around the island
And
on the
that's
west
here?
coast. Yeah,
Carolyn
Harriet.
Harriet.
What's
yeah,
the name
she's-
of that organization?
She ran a business called Seeds of Victoria,
Seeds of
which is no longer anymore. She's moved on from that. I was going to take that over, but that didn't happen. We just decided not to do it. So to take that sort of progression a bit slower, I went to Carolyn's, and while I was there, I started looking for land to start my own farm on. Had found a piece in Gordon Head. And shook hands with the guy, and then like land in Gordon Head is unheard of.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's still there. It's just still
When
just
was
sitting
this?
there.
2010?
Yep. 2009, 10.
Okay.
No, 10. Yeah, it was 10.
When land was still relatively cheap.
Not really bad.
Not
cheaper.
I mean,
Yeah,
cheaper than now.
cheaper. It
Yeah.
was 2008, it was the crisis, right? Or the collapse
Yeah,
of the
but it
market.
had still kind of
Yeah.
been rising. I remember the house. My girlfriend at the time, she lived in the house that was next to the field. That's how I got to think about the field, even though I knew about the field for a long time. So I shook hands with the guy, and then his kids co-owned the house with him. He was an older guy. And they came around once I started preparing the land, and they were like, what are you doing? What's going on? We don't know what's happening. Taking advantage of our dad. And
Oh, really?
that's what they felt like, because
was-
they didn't know what
yeah.
was happening.
Yeah.
And then they see their land being like prepared.
Yeah, and so it was interesting because they had a house,
Yeah.
lots of houses, and it surrounded this lot, and they had a third of the lot running behind their house, and the 2/3 on the outside weren't theirs. And so I was working their third of the land, not their house, but just
the land.
Like, all they did was mow the grass out there. So eventually they wanted all these arrangements, like insurance and everything set up, and I said, and I had to think about it, like, is this really what I want to do? Like, they're asking a lot, and I said, this is it. You know, I really want to, if there's a place I want to do it, it's Gordon Head. Yeah. It's where I grew up. I want to be able to feed the people the community that gave me so much, I want to give back.
Right.
So I agreed to all the terms with them, and then in that same conversation, they said, yeah, no, you're going to have to go. Like, that was it. So, no worries, right?
It wasn't meant to be.
Let me guess, there's a house there now.
Not yet.
Really?
But I'm sure eventually. So the 2 pieces on the outside are owned by someone else, and you can't build in the middle until that guy agrees. That guy just passed away recently.
Okay.
His kids are now developing other pieces that he owns, so it will just be a matter of time before that's done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then that led me to Halliburton. That was the same couple months where then I was like, all right, where do I look next? And just kept scouring and came across Halliburton, applied to Halliburton.
Where is Halliburton
got into Halliburton.
located?
It's Halliburton Road, which is just off of the highway where Claremont is.
And this is the same farm that John and Aaron from our last episode are currently in right now.
That's right. So the way Halliburton works is it's a community farm. So it's land that's owned by the District of Saanich, and it's leased to a non-for-profit society, and then the society's mandate is to have that land being farmed organically and being an incubator farm, so that people can come there, learn how to farm, start a business, and then move on.
Is that whole farm certified organic?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
So there's 5. Is it still 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 plots there that house different businesses. 6 actually. 6 different businesses.
What's the acreage of farmland?
Most of them are an acre or somewhere in that range.
Okay. In total?
Yeah.
5. Oh,
the whole piece of land?
Yeah, the whole piece of land.
The whole piece of land. There's a reservoir there as well that's owned by the CRD. So if you include that, I think it's about 8 or 9 acres in total.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
8.5 maybe, something like
So
that.
this is where you started your journey here in Victoria as a farmer.
On my own.
On your own, yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
So, were you interested in farming before you went to Europe?
Yes.
Did you partake in farming on the island before you went to Europe, or did you go
in some regard,
curious about it and then I want to go full on in Europe, or did you do a couple of years of farming in Victoria?
I'll take you back to that. So I mean,
Rewind.
I'll tell you that story in that growing up as a kid, I always had the desire to be self-sufficient, like just not having to rely on someone or anybody. That was just always a part of me.
Yeah.
And in my teenage years, that sort of, I just didn't focus on that at all. It was still there. And that translated into being interested in like wilderness survival and like structures and just that sort of just reading. I wasn't like actively pursuing it, but just that research.
Building ideas and a passion.
And then my partner at the time her dad, well, James Joshko.
Yep.
His dad, he's really into garlic.
Is he?
He not like I am, but like he really likes good food, good garlic, and he turned me on to garlic. And
did he grow his own garlic at the time, or was he?
No,
was
he
just
didn't.
Interested
But he
in
had
garlic?
he had a poster of it, and I was like, I've always been into food, like cooking, eating it. It was a big part of my house. Not in that a way like we had to dazzle with food, but we always made home cooked meals. As kids, we had to cook 1 meal a week. That was like our chore or whatever.
Good ingredients, not just packaged stuff.
Yeah, totally. Whole ingredients.
Yeah, whole ingredients.
Yeah. So seeing the garlic that he had and sort of starting to want to learn about having that for myself, I started to go to the market, Moss Street, and buy food and buy garlic and talk to people. I started to do the 100-mile diet.
What's that?
It's just where you eat food within 100 miles. It's all produced or grown within 100 miles of you. So from here, it's like you can go up island, you can go to Vancouver area, you can go south into Washington, and you can go into the oceans, and that's
That's it.
kind of it.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. So
You felt good after that.
yeah, it's a good experience. Yeah, try it even
was it
just for a
hard?
weekend or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
To get used to, for sure. But I was already eating really wholesome food, so it was a
Right.
limited foods that I was eating anyways, and it was
Right.
just a matter of like swapping things in
So
and out.
your diet didn't really change? It was
No,
just
it
kinda-
changed.
Yeah?
Big time, but just I was okay with having minimal selection.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Right.
like I didn't need everything at my
No, you
disposal
need just
at that
mono
time.
meals here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So that led me to having a little garden at home where I was living at the time. Then I had a garden at a friend's plot. Like they had a 5-acre farm in like Camosun interurban area. And they went away for the summer. Their whole family did. And they let me use their garden space.
Nice.
And you just
And that was my first garden. I just like planted all kinds of things. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. And I'm like asking my parents every day, like, how do I do this? What's this? You know, and thankfully my parents have both grown lots of stuff over their years. So they know they were able to give me a lot of help and guidance. And the place where I mentored for the seed saving farm was just down the road from there. So I also went there to buy plants and would ask questions. And so I had that garden there. And in the fall of that year, the family was coming back, but I asked if I could use half of their space to plant garlic in. Because by then I'd had one garlic crop and it sucked. Like, really bad.
I need to do another.
And I was like, I also think this is something that I could invest my energy and time into. And so let me just see. Let me just try it out and see what it's like.
You see value in it.
Yeah, that's right. So I planted a crop of garlic there, harvested it, sold it the next year. And that was the year I then went to Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So leading up to that, I had there was all kinds of timing to send me to Europe. That was when the group that was a year older than you, that was on the team when we were a team where I was coaching.
Yeah.
They were all graduating out of U21.
Right.
I had just had shoulder surgery,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
so I had a year off from sports. And I was like, all right, everything's pointing me in the direction of going.
It was meant to be.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I knew garlic had worked. It was fun.
Yeah.
When I came back, I planted another crop of garlic at that same piece of land the year that I returned from Europe. And so while I'm looking for land and ending up at Halliburton, I already have a garlic crop growing somewhere else. And it's not huge. It's the same size as the first
And
one
just
I did.
one crop, just garlic, no other.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yield, or what would you call it? No other variety.
No other harvests. Yeah.
No other harvest.
No other types of veggies.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. Yeah. Nice and simple. Go over the fancy word. No other veggies. In there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got into garlic. That's how I got into farming. Garlic got me into farming.
Yeah.
Cool.
Essentially, that like desire to have that yummy food
Yeah. His
available
garlic's
to me
really
all
good.
the time.
Yeah,
we have it now.
Oh, we.
Yesterday we had a pesto with garlic. It was the
Amazing.
first time having garlic in a while. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so good.
You should get some from Derek. My family bought quite a bit over the years.
That's right.
Garlic
Yeah.
powder, different kinds of like long garlics, and how many different kind of garlics do you grow?
Yeah.
So I used to grow 10.
Okay.
Actually, I started with 20 and ended up down to about 11 just as I whittled
Oh.
through what wasn't really working
Right.
for me or not. Now I grow 170. And that's-
170.
Yeah.
170 types
Yeah.
of garlic?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy bananas.
And is that
That's
right?
awesome.
Okay, so we're bouncing back and forth. So
I know,
right
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
is this your main source of income? Is this garlic company that you're growing? You
No.
have multiple streams.
I have one other stream,
Oh, awesome.
basically.
Yeah.
And I work at the library.
Dope.
Yeah. I deliver the books at the library.
Dope.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Which
No, I've
library?
seen you on the bus.
I go to all of them. And I was on the bus.
Yeah, he was like not
The
actually.
library pimped me on the bus.
Yeah, he just Derek's face on the back of the bus is like, "There's DP."
Wait, you made a.
He was a
ad on the
poster boy.
bus?
Yeah, he was poster boy on the bus.
For the library.
So I saw.
So
Derek.
what's interesting, it wasn't even for the library, it was for the union.
Oh, okay.
Because we were like maybe going on strike, and they wanted to boost morale in the public eye.
So they put the nicest guy on the bus.
That's what they see, right?
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. So is that still on the bus?
No,
No?
that was just like a month campaign or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So right now you sell your garlic.
Yep. Well, I haven't sold for 2 years, so I had a bad year. One winter, 2016, we had that really cold winter for around here. And I lost a lot of my crop. It was just a perfect storm to lose garlic. And so you have to buy new seed. I could have gone back to market last year and stayed at the same size, but the place where I was growing last year, I was moving on from it to where I am now, and the place I am now is much bigger spaces. So I didn't sell anything. I kept all my garlic just to replant. So it's been 2 years since I haven't been to the market, and I'll be back
So you're coming back
in a month
strong.
or so.
Yeah.
Coming back strong, and like more than ever, just excited to be back in the community, seeing the people that I haven't seen for a really long time,
Right.
interacting with people. One of the things I really like about farming, organic farming, and being at the market is sharing information and knowledge and educational opportunities that present themselves. It's abounding, and like I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that. That's one thing why I like coaching soccer too. It's like I can share a passion, I can share wisdom, knowledge, whatever I have, and it's a matter of sharing it and growing from it as well.
It's exciting
So-
sharing things.
Yeah.
And this is why we started this podcast, is for that sole purpose.
Sharing
to
knowledge.
share it, to retain it, and then share it.
That's right.
I don't know, it's this I can't explain the feeling of just sharing knowledge
Yeah.
and someone
See,
taking it.
So when Manny came up with the idea, he's like, Brody, we need to do something for 2019. We're going to create a podcast, and it's going to be awesome. It's like, okay. I'm in. and then we talked about it. We were climbing Mount Finlayson with his wife. And we talked about it, and we planned it, and then it was rolling within a week and a half.
Yeah.
And here we
Perfect.
are. Yeah.
And now you're
Super
here
cool.
talking about garlic.
Amazing.
You're talking about garlic. So correct me if you're wrong, is West Coast garlic, right?
That's right.
West Coast garlic, that's the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
it.
Nice.
Cool.
So after Halliburton Farm, how did you got out there? How did you find your piece of land, or
So after
Are you
Halliburton,
still there?
What's
at Halliburton?
no.
No, you're done.
no.
You're done. Sorry.
So Halliburton works on 4-year terms. You can have 2. At the end of my first 4-year term, I realized it was time to move on, and took a piece of land, a small piece, like I wouldn't even call it a piece of land. I mean, I had a piece of somebody's piece of land, just on the backside of Mount Doug, called Little Mountain Farm. And they hosted me there for 3 years, the years in between to where I am now. And yeah.
and then where are you at now?
Now I grow in Central Saanich at my friend Sean's place. He has North Star Organics,
Oh
which
yeah.
is also at Mott
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
And he leases me a half an acre at a time
Cool.
Nice.
and just moves me around
yeah.
every year. This being still my first year, but
Yeah.
Half an acre is enough space for 112 species of
170.
70?
yeah.
How do you find that many?
That's crazy.
These are all sourced from Canada.
Yeah.
I couldn't import garlic over the border from the States. I could access about up to 600. That's sort of the number that's been identified. There's about 600
Types of
identified varieties, yeah.
Holy shit.
In the world of garlic, though, that number can sound staggering, but it's
Yeah.
not as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Can you name all 600 species?
Yeah, right.
Can you name all 112?
So there's 10 families in garlic that
Okay.
if you then look within each family is where you find all the individual varieties.
Subspecies.
We won't use the term, but yes,
Okay.
you can think of that.
Sub-varieties.
Yeah, just varieties
Okay.
in a family name.
Okay, cool.
And visually speaking, and with the differences that tell you what a different garlic is compared to another one, that's where one looks, is the 10 different families.
Right.
Not in the 50 varieties, 100 varieties within a family.
Right.
Those are all going to look pretty much the same. Their flavor will be different, tiny slight differences, but it's more about the story of where they've been grown, how they've changed in those places.
Yeah.
Because I could grow a type of garlic, and you could grow a type of garlic at your place. And after 10 years of us doing it alone in our own places, they could look very different.
But they started the same.
That's right. So environmental conditions
the soil.
sort of adapt. Garlic adapts to the condition. It's not changing its genetics. It's not. It's not morphing, but it is expressing what the conditions are that it grows in.
Have you found there's been a change of your garlic throughout the timeline that you've been growing? Have you seen visual change, taste, or not?
Only at the very beginning.
Okay.
And even still, like the seed that I started with when I first started growing was all local seed anyway, so it was kind of in this region already.
It has already adapted and changed.
Yeah, but the garlic that I just am growing now, like the 170 varieties, there's maybe 6 or so, 7 that I've grown since the beginning that I've managed to hold on to. Right. Some I lost in that bad year, some I kept.
Right.
And the rest are all new to me. I haven't even tasted them. Like I planted them. This is the second time I've planted them and grown them, but I still haven't tasted any of them.
Right.
Like they're just sitting there. I'm drooling looking at them. Like, one of these days.
Hurry up.
So I'm still going to watch those changes happen
Yeah.
over the next few years.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So take me through the process of planting garlic. So you get seeds, and you got seeds from all over Canada, from different places, 170 kinds. And then what do you do with them?
So first is like prepping the soil, preparing the area.
And how do you do that?
Depends on who you are and how you farm, or if you're gardening in the backyard or whatever it is, but it's usually some type of preparing the bed. So you make your bed space where the garlic's going to go. You add compost, you add any fertilizer, you work the soil, you get it ready.
Yeah.
With however that system works.
And
There's
so many
ways to do it. Yeah.
So many.
And then you get a bulb of garlic, you break it open, and then each clove becomes your seed, quote unquote.
Interesting.
So seeds, which we can talk about later, are a different category within the garlic world. The cloves themselves, you're like basically cloning the plant. You're just like taking the same flesh of the plant, put it in the ground, it goes again.
So you can grow. So from the garlic that I got up there, I could potentially grow my own garlic.
Potentially. Sometimes the stuff you buy in the store has been sprayed or irradiated and it doesn't grow well. But that's the idea.
Do you have to take the peel off?
No.
No?
It's better to leave it on.
Really?
Yeah. Kind of protects the clove as it settles and roots.
Yeah.
Manny's gonna go plant a garlic after this.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
I don't know. It's interesting.
It's not the best time of year,
Yeah.
but you can do it still.
What is the best time?
October, November weather. So you can do like a fall planting or a spring planting.
Okay.
Spring planting is that you would like to do it earlier in the spring as opposed to later. And then you get a little bit of a later harvest. The fall planting is harvested in July-ish time,
That's based
late
on the
June.
weather.
Yeah, but also that's the plant's life cycle too.
Based on sun and all that.
How long does it take to grow?
About 9 months.
9 months.
9 months.
Okay.
Just like a baby.
Just like a
That's
baby.
right.
It's
Yeah.
your babies.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah. One form. So once it's in the ground, I mulch. I put straw down to keep the moisture in, to feed the soil eventually. What?
What's
Straw.
Mulch it. So any type of covering. So you could use chopped leaves, straw, hay, manure, anything that really covers the soil and gives some protection.
Oh, okay. Because it dries out in the weather.
That's one reason. Yeah, it protects the moisture levels. It maintains the moisture better.
And then at the same time you water it.
Usually I don't water my garlic at all. Not once.
Interesting.
But I mean, it gets rained on
Right.
all the time. And yeah, there's some debate on that. Like watering can ensure more consistent bulb size and getting bigger, like more consistently bigger bulbs. But I do find that sometimes that translates into not as good storage life of the garlic, like keeping it over the winter. And flavor, I think flavor is better with dry farming with no added water.
Interesting.
But it also, I mean, that depends on the rainfall of the year.
Right.
It's
Is that just for garlic or for all?
just for garlic? Yeah. I wouldn't even. Yeah, it would be crop specific conversations.
Yeah.
Lots. Most crops need water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Garlic's a bit different because it's in the ground over the winter. It
Right.
sets deep roots. It's accessing water from pretty far down.
Right.
The top 6 inches of soil can be wet, but underneath that, or dry, and underneath that is pretty wet and
Yeah.
True.
cool. Yeah.
And then it comes out. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it comes out. There's the scapes, the curly tops. Have you ever seen those in the market?
Yeah.
Yeah, those will be harvested in about May. Those are like the tops of the garlic. Those are the flowers that want to grow.
Yeah.
Which is something that I'm looking at doing with the garlic that I grow. So, I said when you plant with a clove, it's a clone. I coming from a seed saving background. Do you guys know what I mean when I say seed saving?
You want to
Yeah.
preserve the seed.
Yeah,
Want
so
to
like
harvest
every
it and-
plant produces seeds, and like if you grow a carrot, it's from a seed that a carrot plant produced out of its flowers. If you
Right.
leave a carrot in the ground, it's going to produce flowers and seeds, and you can keep those seeds and replant them. There's whole techniques and strategies to that. That's a whole different farming activity as well. But and I do a lot of that still. But with garlic, it's not done. It's just we've propagated garlic for thousands of years by cloning, just by putting another clove in the ground, and
Yeah.
it's gotten used to living that way and not even getting the chance to produce a
Yeah.
flower head because we snap the tops off that are going to be a flower head. It actually makes a bigger bulb. We eat the tops.
Really?
It's a good trade-off for us as humans. But the plant itself has no genetic diversity or growth. Like
Interesting.
It's
for
already from-
millennia,
Wow.
for thousands of years, because we're just putting the same clove back in the ground
Yeah.
every year. It's like a potato. It's the same thing. Potatoes, just you get a potato and you put it back in the ground. You're not harvesting the seeds. So when you have seeds, there's the opportunity for cross pollination. So when bugs are flying around and pollinating one flower, going to another, they're taking the genetics of 2 different kinds of plants and crossing them over potentially, and growing the diverse pool of genes that happens within that species.
Yeah.
So garlic hasn't had that at all, and that's something I'm going to focus on doing and trying to save seed of
Totally
garlic
interesting.
that's been cross-pollinated, open-pollinated to whatever's going to come to it, and then just see where it goes. Ideally, in the end, it turns into varieties of garlic that are more resistant to disease, because garlic is one of those crops, because it hasn't evolved. The diseases that affect it have evolved and
Right.
continue to evolve, because diseases are really good at that. Viruses are really good at that. So,
So
yeah,
it's hard to maintain garlic based on the fact that they haven't been cross-pollinated and they haven't adapted to the environment.
it's not that it's hard, but it just presents. Garlic
challenge.
is susceptible to disease.
Yeah.
Once it has it, it's hard to get rid of it, or it's a struggle that I would rather not have to deal with.
Right.
I'd rather have a healthy strain that's going to produce well and resist the viruses and stuff that are coming its way. So yeah, that's kind of part of the research side of things. Like, so when I bought all these varieties of garlic, I looked at my life and was like, do I want to just go to the market, continue going with the same 10 varieties, telling the same stories, eating the same garlics? And I said, no, I need some excitement. I need this to be diverse. I need something
That
fun
is
out of
very
this.
exciting.
So,
Right.
so I have that educational component. I can take it to the market, and people come up to the stand and they're like, what do you mean you have this many kinds of garlic?
So many people.
I just want to see it. 170 kinds of garlic. I
Oh,
can
you come
picture
out
what
and
he said.
help me harvest it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come.
If you
Awesome.
need help, man,
Yeah.
we're there.
You'll learn too.
Yeah,
You'll
we're
see them
there
all. Yeah.
harvesting garlic.
Let's
We'll
do
be
it.
there.
Awesome. So yeah, there's that, and then I can now also pursue this research side on my own time too, of trying to cross pollinate and raise new varieties.
Yeah.
Create new
How
varieties.
did you learn all this about garlic? Was it just
Reading?
self-reading? Were there any
Yep.
main role models for this or key resources that you use?
It started at Carolyn Harriet's farm where I was seed saving multiple vegetable, herb, flower seeds. Like we would do everything. And so when I went to Halliburton, I started just growing veggies there. And then I took my good friend and partner, a farming partner, Golden Rose. She joined me at Halliburton and we farmed together there. And we had both worked at Carolyn's farm. And so we did about half of our farm seed saving where we were doing like wholesale bulk seed saving and we were selling it to her seed company. And then the other half was veggies. And we found it was difficult at Halliburton because many people have things that are going to flower and cross-pollinating with what we were trying to keep as pure.
Right.
So the timing of things was really important, and it was a struggle to do it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided, as people and as constant learners and wanting to grow ourselves, we said, okay, we understand seed saving. We know how to do it. We can still do the things that are easy to do here. But let's focus on learning how to grow food now. Let's really crank into farming and producing. So that was the next sort of 3 years of Halliburton was just that. So from that time, I've always had a keen interest in seed saving. And when it came time to rejuvenating my garlic and my garlic business, the timing worked out that I learned about seed saving with garlic because it really hadn't been a thing that anyone talked about because no one does it.
Right.
So I just found a Facebook group and was kind of wowed, like, oh, shit, you guys do this. Like,
Community of
okay,
people
it's
that grow
happening.
garlic.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
I was jumped right in. Like,
Yeah.
count me in. I'm going to learn about this and act on it. So,
Cool. And here we are.
yeah.
So, with regards to books, what kind of books was there any?
So in terms of garlic books, Growing Great Garlic and The Complete Book of Garlic are two books that I've read a lot and have helped me in my garlic journey. They don't really focus so much on the seed saving side of it, which we've just discussed, but they're good resources. They are, if one wants to learn about growing garlic and how to do it well, those are great books to read. Yeah.
And there's nothing online.
Yeah, there is information online, but it's not like
that
front and
detail.
center. You have to find the groups and then you have to read the forums and that's what I've done. Yeah. And then talking with people too in those forums. So reaching out to people. There's some people in the States who are doing it and Canada. Industry has done it too. They've done the research and produced lots of garlic seed, but no one wants to
Share it.
give it out or sell seeds because seeds, like, this is why I find seeds really cool, is seeds are the basis of our food system.
Yeah.
Whoever controls the seeds controls food.
Yeah.
And if you think about how important food is, and I remember hearing a bit in John and Aaron's conversation about food politics,
Yeah.
seeds play a big role in that conversation about who produces them, how they're produced, what's being produced, what's being pushed to people.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like it's the thing that the people need to retain. That needs to be common property.
Seeds.
Big
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
That was one of the questions, like, where did you get your seeds? You know, like, where are sources that you can get your seeds for growing?
You mean for
anything?
garlic specifically or
For
everything?
garlic, yeah, for garlic.
For anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for it, but
So for everything, I choose to support as much as I can local, small organic farms that grow their own seed. A, they're adapted to our region, and B, they're not working with the large seed companies
Yeah,
to
exactly.
try and monopolize them.
And they don't have to travel far to get to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's things called Seedy Saturday.
Seedy Saturday.
They happen sort of in the beginnings of the season, like January until there's one at Halliburton actually, January until maybe now they might still be happening, and it's like one per Saturday. One happens at Halliburton. It's the Saanich one. One happens in Victoria. It happens at the convention center. There's an Nanaimo one, Qualicum, Parksville. Wow. They go all across Canada. Actually, it's not like the same people go to all of them, but in those regions,
Yeah.
The same vendors go to the ones that make sense for them to go to, and it gives a chance for all the people to go and buy the local seeds.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if
That's
you're
awesome.
looking for seeds, that's where you
I'm
should
looking
seed.
for seeds.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna turn my yard into a farm.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like where your parents live.
Yeah, where my parents
And-
live.
and you live, yeah.
So our front yard right now is all. We put a tarp over there for the last, or over top of the front yard for
This
the
is
last
the one
year.
near Fernwood?
Yeah,
in
Fernwood.
North Park? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I took off the tarp yesterday,
Yeah.
and it's just all dirt.
Yeah.
It's nice, ready to go.
Perfect.
Barely any weeds, and like
Perfect.
maybe 8 weeds that I took up.
Give it some time.
Yeah, so I just, exactly. So I've just been digging that up. So yeah,
Awesome.
so that's good to know. So
Yeah.
we need seeds.
Yeah.
For
And reach out to me too. I got lots of seeds.
Okay.
Like I seed save at home. Every year I'm seed saving something or a few things or many things. And
Because you have a massive farm on your property.
I wouldn't say
Well,
massive, but I've turned my front yard into
bigger
into
than a lot
garden.
of people's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. What?
Yeah.
Kinda something that just made sense to you. You had the skill set to do it, and then you just
Well,
went ahead and did it, or was it already kind of there? Or?
When I stopped farming at Halliburton and started just growing garlic a little bit at a time at Little Mountain Farm, was that the same time? It was around the same time, maybe a year later, that I moved to the house I'm at now.
Right.
And the house I was living at in Fernwood, which had you been to when I lived there? Oh, okay.
No, I know where you live.
Okay.
On the hill.
On the
Middle
hill,
of
yeah. So we had a garden there and it did produce food for us there. But
Mm-hmm.
at that same time, I had access to farm food and my own farm.
Right.
So I didn't have a garden that was producing for
You didn't
myself
really
a
need
ton.
to.
Yeah, it did it, but it wasn't like my main focus. It was more for the house.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to this house that I'm at now, I didn't have that. And that was one of the reasons why I stopped full-time farming too. Like full-time farming is exactly how it sounds. It's full-time.
Yeah.
And there's like for me,
investment
it didn't make sense to be fully engulfed in just one thing anymore. Like I needed time in my life to do other things. So I had to step back, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my time, but I knew I just needed to move from that and allow myself the space to figure that out. And in the meantime, I needed to eat. I needed food. So
So you grew your own.
that's right. So I built a garden in the front yard and the backyard. I even put a greenhouse up in my front yard, but had to take it down because bylaw officers came by and said
Really?
it's too big. It's like a structure, and you need a
It's
permit.
like
and-
over 4 feet or something in the front.
yeah, it's like 10 by 10. I think
Oh,
you can
okay.
get away with 10 by 10, but
Then like over 6 feet.
height is a restriction.
yeah.
I mean, I had a 14 by 30 foot
Massive
greenhouse,
greenhouse.
like 9 feet and tall. It was beautiful. It is
Yeah.
a beautiful greenhouse. It's just sitting in my backyard unbuilt right now. So yeah, but the point was that I needed to produce food for myself and the people I lived with was
Right.
the idea. You know, it was like, it's my garden. We're going to share in it and everyone can eat from it. I'll sort of tell you like, look, like no more peas right now. I need the rest for either myself or seed saving or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there was always reasonings about that, that everyone has to work with. But yeah, that's how I came to build the front garden at my house,
an
and
awesome front garden.
it's pumping. It's
Yeah.
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 It feeds you all.
Not in that way. Like it feeds me first, and then I share whatever else is there.
Right.
Like over the winter, I didn't do a winter garden, but we had kale. If everyone ever wanted kale in the garden, eat till your heart's content. Like,
Yeah.
there's no stopping your kale consumptions. Go for it. And then like an example was like leeks. Like I planted a bed of leeks last year that the plan was they were going to last me over the winter, and I'm still eating those leeks right now.
Oh wow.
And that's because I had to like tell people in the house, like, all right, like we've reached the capacity. Like now I'm going to make those last for myself. That's
Yeah.
the plan.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to stop eating my leeks now. And so you know, it's just as an example of like how the garden works really at my house. So
It's a nice community. You build your own community kind of thing.
yeah.
And how did you got into the mastery community? Like,
Well, through Halliburton originally. So Halliburton, that's one of the beautiful things about Halliburton is it has a stall at Moss Street Market, 2 stalls. That's grown to like 3.5 since myself and other farmers were there growing it. pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's your bell? So Halliburton has this stall, and as a new farmer, you come in and you get a piece of land. If you know what you're doing, you can at least produce some food, but then you don't have to look for somewhere to sell it. They have a box program there, and they have a stand at the market.
Yeah.
So I got into the market first by doing that, by selling there for 4 years, 5 years, and just meeting people in the community that way. And then I took a stand of my own for 2 years, just selling garlic. And then in that time, I joined the board. I was just at one of the AGMs, and someone said, "Oh, I think Derek should be on the board because that's how it works. Someone votes you, nominates you." Yeah. I'm like,
All right.
okay, all right, let's do this. And since then, I'm really happy I did, because there's a whole side of me that kind of ties into coaching. Like, I just want to help organize and better things for other people in some way.
Yeah.
And the board is sort of satiating that part of me right
in
now.
a leadership role.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
And making decisions
Exactly.
for other people who aren't going to do it for themselves or need. That's how the system's set up. Someone's going to take that position. Sure, let's do it. Let's do good things for people.
And you love that?
Yeah,
You
for
love
sure.
community.
Yeah.
So right now, I want to talk about like you specifically. You have your farm and for yourself in your house, and then you have your garlic, and you're growing your garlic. You're going back to the market. What other things do you do? What do you like? How do you spend your free time? What other than farming, other than immersing yourself in the community?
Well, music is one.
Yeah.
Music is one that also just includes me in a community that I really enjoy. I like growing up as a kid and teenager, and video games being a part of my world. I was never into playing them so much. I liked watching other people play them.
Yeah.
But then I got kind of bored of that. I was like, I like to actively participate. Like when it comes to sports, like I'm not someone who follows sports. I like playing sports.
Same here.
And like, I don't care who's winning and losing at the end of the day. It's about playing the sport.
Right.
That's the beauty of it for me. So music is kind of like that for me too. I'm not trying to win with my music. I'm not trying to accomplish certain goals. I'm just trying to do it.
Platinum record
that's right.
selling artist.
It's something that feeds my soul.
Yes.
It gives me actual tangible results. It's kind of like my version of video games. I can sit down, make some tracks, and at the end of it, I feel like I've done something good. I've had relaxing times. I've accessed creativity in my mind.
Yeah.
And then I come out of it, like, great. I want to come back and do that again.
And it's so much better than video games because you're doing that and you're conversing with people, and it's a community of people where you actually go and you talk to them, you share, and you perform. Video games, you're on a mic. Hey, buddy, I just shot you.
That's right. That's sure. Yeah.
Right? It's a community, but you're just there in your PJs on the couch.
Yeah.
So what kind of music do you?
So I made pretty much strictly hip hop.
Nice.
Growing up for me, that was it. Hip hop was my friends and mine world. That was it. I have some friends now that we started making hip hop together when I was 14,
Yeah.
15. I'm 36 now.
Just a fun thing.
And you
to
still make hip hop music with them?
Yeah, not as often.
Yeah,
Not as often.
Right. Because you don't have.
But that
all the time in the
relationship's
world with a
still there.
14-year-old.
Yeah, that relationship's still there.
awesome.
One of the three that I started doing it with, he's passed away, so definitely not making music in the physical anymore.
do. But he's there in your soul.
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah. One's in somewhere in Alberta. I don't see him at all. So him and I haven't made anything together for a while. And then another guy lives in town, and we just kick it every now and then and
Nice.
make some tracks if we can get around to it. It's a big focus on their life still. And
Yeah.
it's just a small part of my world.
Yeah,
Like
just
it's
another
an
thing in
important
your life.
one, but it's not the thing that takes up a lot of my
Right.
time because I choose it to
Yeah.
be that way.
So it fulfills you.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep, it feeds me.
It feeds you, right?
Yeah, it
feeds
helps
your
me
soul.
grow. Yeah.
It's like you said, it taps into your creative side.
Yeah.
And I think that is very valuable. And I feel like this podcast is tapping into my creative side. Because
Definitely.
I studied engineering and it's very like
Dry.
dry and structured.
1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget.
rules and like your creative side is like. And then I did a project. I designed a submarine and I built it.
Yep.
And I felt like super, like my creative
Stimulated.
side. Yeah, I was so stimulated by my creativity on doing this. And then after that, I started work, my full-time job. And it's like, man, I have no creative side. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have anything. So this podcast is really tapping into my
The left side of your brain.
my other side of the brain, and it's fulfilling me.
Yeah.
It fulfills
Nice.
me. It fulfills my soul, like
Nice.
music does to you.
Yeah.
And I can relate too because I didn't really know what to expect when we started this, but we went full on, went for the best people that we can find, the most interesting people that we can find, that we think that we can gain knowledge from them, and then we want to share it because we want to be for a platform for people like that, right? And bring in many different kinds of people from many different kinds of genres, converse with them, and learn. Just picking seeds, right, and planting on what's inside your soul.
I hold that philosophy in life in my reading. Like I read a lot of biographies and autobiographies, and it's not about a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
And it's not about so much about their story and like who that person was. It's about the things they learned and are able to tell you in the book that I like glean and like bring into my world, and like just I don't consciously grow from it, but I just put them inside of me and they become a part of me slowly. The things that really resonate with me, you know, it's
Exactly.
the other things, maybe it takes me 10, 20 years to learn it. And then I think back like, oh yeah, shit, that guy went through that. Of course. How could I not have seen that? Right. Now I get it.
You experienced that before, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Gaining perspective. I think, did I mention that in what I wrote to you guys?
No.
Perspective has been a big word in my world recently, and just gaining it and learning it and appreciating it, because for one, I want to be a loving and caring person and respectful of everyone I meet. And that when I think about perspective and understanding that everybody has their own perspective and their own story on how they got to that perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody does, not just like 5 people. There's like every single human, every animal, every being in this world has a perspective,
and on many different kinds of scenarios.
So much
perspective may be the same to you in this scenario, but it may be completely different in this scenario based on where they came from and their upbringing, what they've been exposed to.
That's right. So I had a wow moment recently of like, oh wow, I need to respect like a child or a pope the same as I do like a serial killer or someone who's done horrible things in their life. That's a hard thing to do.
It's hard.
But it's a real outlook. If one is going to look at the world and say, I want to care and respect everybody, that includes the people who have done the worst things and the best things, and not treating them differently. Of course, recognizing the situation and being aware of what has to be done outside of that, and having your own perspective as well. But respecting theirs, how they got to it. And, you know, that doesn't mean that I'm going to befriend someone who does things that I don't like all the time. That doesn't mean that, but I'm going to be understanding at least of how that happened or where they come from.
Right.
So yeah, that was my like, oh wow moment. And I think I've lived that way for quite a long time.
That's a good way to live.
That was like really
And
hitting home.
can you pinpoint it, the what moment? What were you doing? It just came to you?
No, it was just more like constantly thinking about perspective.
Yeah. Do you reflect a lot? Do you have
Always.
a journal or?
Not on pages, but other than my lyrics. Like when I write, that's my reflection for sure. That's my journaling. Yeah. But, so it's not a steady practice, but it comes out when it needs to.
So reflection is a big part of your life.
Some, I wouldn't say huge, but it's there. It's mostly about being in the now, right now, in this moment right here.
In this moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that there are certain spots in this world where you feel like you reflect easier, or you with more
Like physical
ease?
places, you mean?
Yeah, physical places, like in your recording studio,
In the lab.
in nature.
in your studio lounge here.
In here, yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say there's one that's easier than others. That's a practice that I've come through to. I've turned like a mentality of like, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, and coming at it from a negative perspective into a positive. And just like, if I need to reflect on something right now, I will.
Yeah.
And if I want to do it later or wherever I am, now's the time. I'm a firm believer in saying what you mean, doing what you mean, doing it right now, or at the time that feels right. Like timing is really everything, and following one's instinct about things will lead us to the right place, even if it makes something harder or pushes somebody away or brings people together. The right things are happening for everyone involved because everyone's being honest.
It's important to isolate yourself and not take external factors into your own decisions, I feel.
I wouldn't say not taking them in, but
considering it,
and maintaining the integrity of your own while looking at everything else and making sense of it for oneself, for yourself first, and then sharing that out.
So if you had one message to share to the world, what would it be?
It's hard, man.
Ding.
It's hard. Like based on your whole life, from farming to recording to reflecting to your view, your one moment right now.
Well, I mean, there's 3 sayings I live my life by, and that's all you have to do is believe, learn to love, and timing is everything.
If it feels right, it's probably
It's not even about if it feels right, even. It could feel totally wrong. And then 10 years later, you'll look back and say, the time for that was right.
Yeah.
I didn't think at the moment I wanted to get kicked out of school. But then you go off and you start a career in something and you're like, oh, I needed to get kicked out of school to do that.
Yeah.
So there's things that we don't even understand about timing in the moment, that when we reflect on them from our past, the timing makes total sense. So yeah, that's timing is everything. Timing is growth. Timing is our lives. We're everything.
Where did you learn that?
I don't know. Honestly. I mean, living my life with Gary, people with disabilities who live with disabilities, has been a big one. I worked at a day program called Namaste, and it was for like the people who were at like the very end of the line. Like there weren't day programs for them because they didn't fit into the sort of mold that would normally work for many people who do live with disabilities. There's such a range of people in this world, and trying to fit them into boxes sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And so these people didn't fit into the boxes. And like some of the guys would do like crazy shit, like you just like that involved shit. Things like that you just didn't want to have to see or deal with every day. And my boss at the time was quick to sort of make it clear, and I already understood it, but he put it into words well, in that, if a guy throws his shit at you, or he punches you and bites you, but he cares about you, what does that say? He's trying to communicate. And let's say that person can't verbally communicate well. That's his way of saying, you need to help me in the bathroom. I need some help right now, So everybody has ways of looking out and trying to express themselves. And this is where I want to even like pull back from saying people who live with disabilities. We all are people, and we all have our disabilities and differences. It's some are more evident, some are more extreme than the norm that we consider to be a human.
We all express ourselves in different ways.
That's right. So, I mean, I've also been in parts of my life that are very dark, and like some badass shit goes down in that world. And that's where I still manage to respect those people and learn to love them, because I know they have their own story about what's taught them how to be who they are. And I'm not going to judge them for that. I'm not here to make myself better than anybody. So I'm just trying to learn. I'm looking for a way to learn to love, and I don't want to ever have to give up on that hope of being able to succeed at that. Sometimes that can take me into places which aren't healthy too.
Yeah.
In that I need to recognize, like, okay, I've tried, and I'm not being received in like relationships. You can try and that's kind of like having the blinders on when you try and make a relationship work and you just try and the other person isn't reciprocating or whatever it may be. That's unhealthy. So there's like a balance to be taken in with that, but to never lose hope of that, to understand that that's like a key thing to look for in life, of just being able to learn what someone else is and what they stand for, and learning to love that about them.
To just deeply relate to them. Yeah, find connecting, because humans, we're all different, but we're probably more the same than we are different.
For sure.
And I find that people express themselves differently, and that expression might not pair good with you. You might feel offended.
Right.
But
that doesn't make that person bad or wrong.
Like, for example, when you approach someone and you say you're doing, there's a better way to do this. They might be aggressive about it, and they might feel self-defense because they know that there's a better way, but they don't want to accept it. So they start getting defensive, and
insecurities.
They start,
or is the source of that.
And they start portraying themselves in a manner that is aggressive. And this has happened to me so many times. That's why I chose that specific option, because I say there's better ways, and they just start screaming at me, and I'm like, okay, I understand. Like, the way you're expressing yourself is not the way that I should judge, or I should block completely. Take it into account and learn to love the person the way they are. Do you find that you cannot change people?
I would just say that then timing is everything comes into play.
Timing is everything.
They're not ready to hear your words.
Exactly.
If your words are something that, you're trying to better them for or show them another way, the timing isn't right for whatever circumstances that have brought them to where they are. Maybe in 10 years they'll change, they'll grow. Maybe 10 years before that they were ready for it, and they've gone a different path, and now they're not. But it's just about trying. It's about giving consistently in that way to everyone you come across. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, that's okay. The right things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Because they're going in their path. I'm not trying to force anybody in a way that they need to go, but I'm going to present myself as who I am and what I am. If you respect that, if you receive that, wonderful. And if not, all the best to you. I hope we see each other again in a good circumstance.
Stay well.
That's
Don't
right.
hold grudges. Have you read The 4 Agreements?
No, I have the book, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah? I love that book. And I always come down when talking about relationships, about self-being and accepting. That book always comes to me because it's
I haven't read it, but I know the 4 agreements.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are they, Brady?
I wanted to call him on that too.
Yeah. Okay, so don't assume.
Yes, don't assume anything. Because like Derek said, they might have a completely different background.
Yeah.
Yep.
Different experience, so don't assume.
Don't take things personally.
Yeah. Someone approaches you aggressively, it's like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
man.
it's probably coming from a different place, that
exactly.
aggression.
It's the timing is not right.
Make your word impeccable.
That is a key one, I think.
Yeah.
Because
for sustaining relationships, yeah, for sure.
What your word is tricky, because some people might be offended if you say, hey, you're drinking too much water.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on? You want to go work out? What? You calling me fat?
Yeah.
Being impeccable, it's getting to know your audience, I guess.
Well, I think it's backing up what you say. Say, I'm going to be here at 8:30. I'll meet you there. See you there.
Yeah.
And then if you're there at 9:30, or if you don't show, or if you text them 20 minutes before, like I did to Derek last week, and hey, I'm sick, Derek. But yeah, just make your word impeccable. And then the last one is always try your best.
Bro, you nailed it.
Yeah, no, Vanny, come on, put me on the spot, Derek.
I know you did.
Yeah, but no, they're good staples to live by, for sure. And they felt that when he introduced the book to me, I haven't read it, but I read the.
You know what?
I read all the agreements.
I
And it
haven't
helped me
read
so
the book
much.
either.
You haven't read the book either?
No.
Really?
I just literally saw the 4 agreements
And just knew.
and I started reflecting on every single one
Yeah,
without reading the book.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, some days I do open the book and I read about it, and it's like, well, that's exactly what I was reflecting on.
Perfect.
You know, it's like I find that the knowledge and the value of the book is already in me.
Because you can apply them to so many different scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often think of if I'm in some sort of trouble or having a difficulty thinking through a problem or something, and I wish I could have someone to ask. What do you do? What's your opinion? What's that? If that isn't available, like what you said about looking inside and reflecting, and it's like I'm on a road and there's a speed bump or a wall in the way, and I look inside like, how do I get through this or around this? And I wish I had a coach to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And then I look inside myself like, what would I ask that person? And as soon as I can find the question, I already have the answer inside myself. And it like sidesteps that problem. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Some things need help externally or more time to figure them out. But there's
ask
lots of
yourself.
times in the moment where I look inside and I find I have that knowledge already intrinsically inside who I am. We are blessed with that inner knowledge as people. It's incredible and so easy to tap into and access once we are open to it.
And I feel that snowballs into humans' ability to adapt. Like when you're faced with a problem, you have the answer on how to adapt into it. But it's frustrating sometimes. You have no idea what to do. And like you said, asking yourself the question.
Yeah, and
yourself.
I've for many years through different sports and fitness and stuff, I've thought about, if I'm tired or something and I need that mental strength to get through something, I think about, and this goes back to like wilderness survival skills and that sort of belief. What do you do if your life is on the line?
Exactly.
And how do you make it out of these situations? And I think about people, and I can't say I've been there, but I think about people who, cut their arm off in the wild so that they can get out of where it's stuck and then crawl to safety.
Yeah.
And the toughness that it takes to do that, they never imagined they could do that to themselves or for themselves. We have this superhuman strength inside that when presented with that opportunity, it comes out. And if we know it's there, I feel like we're all capable of so much more we give ourselves credit for.
And that is how you tap into your physical fitness side.
Yeah.
Well, having that mentality, there's people out there that are doing ridiculous things
Because their minds
for
are
surviving.
so strong.
Yeah.
And if you cannot do this little one task right here,
Yeah.
I can relate heavily to that, having type 1 diabetes. So if I don't test my blood sugar 5 times a day and take shots 5 times a day, I'm going to die.
That's right.
yeah.
Right? It's that concept. So, and then I've had it since 13.
Yeah.
So now it's just second nature. I don't even think about it. I just do all the things. We don't even think about it. It doesn't affect my mood. I don't feel sorry for myself.
No,
I just-
you
I
hold
just
yourself
do it.
accountable
Exactly.
because there's
no
death
one
is
else.
the other option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
So fitness-wise, what you play soccer?
I don't right now.
No?
I haven't played for, this will be the 3rd season right now.
Yeah.
Did you have injuries? When you stopped? Or just time?
There was a bit of injury stuff. It was it was a hard transition for me in that.
Right, because it's such a big part of your life. And,
Yeah.
and your little brother's life, or your older brother's life. Gary,
Yeah, all of ours.
Right? All of yours,
All of ours have been soccer related, and it's growing up and playing for almost every year of my life up until when I stopped, it was just a matter of like, I didn't want to go from Div 1 down.
Right.
to a lower division, and I was still on the Div 1 team, sitting on the bench, looking at guys who were your age coming in and taking the spot now, and I'm like, okay, this is the cycle, this is how it happens. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to be okay with that. But it didn't make sense to me. The competitive side, the desire for that highest level of competition was still there, and I didn't want to step down to a lower division. So I just said, I'm just not going to play. I'm going to give myself the time. I'm going to heal the injuries that I do have. I'm going to focus on other things in my life. And in that time, I've healthily put down that desire for the highest level of competition. It's not what I strive for now.
You just want to enjoy the game now, yeah?
Yeah. So this fall, I'm looking at starting again
Nice.
in just a casual way.
Nice.
Like
Back at Saanich?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
whatever.
Wherever
Yeah.
you
Yeah. If
feel
it works
right.
out to be there,
Yeah.
then great. It might be a little far to travel for me because I live right near Hampton. I might play Gorge.
right? Go play Gorge.
I might just play like a pickup type style thing once a week.
Intramurals.
Yeah.
Your Victor's intramurals.
Yeah, maybe not even that. Like just like a Sunday kick around
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
know what? I was thinking,
all
I'm
the
gonna
time, man.
go.
Awesome.
I'm going to one today at George J at
Yeah.
1:00.
Okay.
You should go.
That's the one right near your house.
Yeah, just in behind.
I have other things to do today, but
yeah, they go from here on till September.
Yeah.
They started
1:00.
now?
Yeah, they started. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
he's ready.
I
He's
love
ready.
playing there, yeah. I played soccer on Tuesday for the first time.
She's playing sevens.
Competitively.
Nice.
For the first time in ages.
Yeah.
And I had the most fun of my life.
Nice.
I had so much fun.
The other team hated him
Yeah, all the other team wanted to punch
because he was having so much fun.
And I
You
was,
guys weren't winning 10-0, and you're having a ton of fun, right?
Oh, we were winning 8-1 and having a ton of fun.
I understand. Yeah.
But it was funny because they were very mouthy from the get go when it was 0-0.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah.
And so our way of poking them back was just to play well and win, and then really enjoy winning.
Right.
the
Right.
only thing is that at the beginning of it, I entered the mentality of I just want to play, you know. So I was kind of hesitant because I haven't played in a while, and started touching the ball, started seeing how everyone played, and then I vocally said, "Okay, I'm gonna start running."
Yeah. It's like, okay, guys, I'm gonna start running.
And I just started running, and it felt so good.
Awesome.
Do you feel that about exercise? That it feels good for your mind?
Body and soul, it's
Mind,
everything.
body,
Yeah.
and soul?
Yeah, like every day, like I work Monday to Friday at the library, and I walk to work and home. It
Yeah.
takes me half an hour. It's a beautiful walk.
Yeah.
And you know, I try and get 2 days a week where I run home, and
Nice.
it's just like I still get that movement. I'm riding my bike here and there often. I started playing badminton a bit recently
Nice.
again. That's a sport I really like.
Nice.
Just
Low
going to like a
impact.
drop-in.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's
actually.
not?
No, it's pretty hard on the body.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I
just
guess
the starting and
lunging,
stopping
right?
and lunging.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be, but I haven't felt it.
Right.
Like my body feels in a good place
Yeah.
to put itself
Probably
through
better
that.
than
so
playing soccer on turf.
probably. Yeah. But I'm gonna go check that
You're
out
gonna
and
go
see
play
what
some
it's like.
soccer
Yeah.
on turf.
But sauna has
Yeah.
been a huge part of my life in the last 4 years,
Nice.
5 years.
Did
Like,
you- sauna?
Do you contrast hot and cold?
I don't. I
should
did.
try it.
I did for
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah.
Now I like to come out of the sauna, like I'll go in, my max is kind of half an hour first stop,
Yep.
and I'm like falling over when I get out after
Yeah.
half an
I
hour.
go 20 minutes and falling over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can be 20 minutes falling over.
Yeah.
It's kind
The
of
last
steady
10 minutes
too.
is just a
Yeah,
grind.
it's a fight. It's a
With the
fight.
sauna?
It's a fight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But then I get out, and now I like to walk the pool deck and cool down slowly. And
Nice.
there's been a couple things that brought me to that. Is one is just like in a hot country, which is what we're trying to be like in the sauna, essentially.
Right.
Hotter than, but that idea, there is not a cold shower waiting for you
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
Somehow people live in super hot places.
Right.
How do they do that on a day-to-day basis? and it's not based on cold showers.
So you want to tap into that?
So I just wanted to experiment with that. I was like, what is it like to just walk the pool deck? And then I started to walk, and it gave me this sort of mental challenge. One, the mental challenge is there of like, fuck, I'm hot. I want this to stop. And that cold shower gives you that.
Yeah.
It's immediate.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful feeling.
It's
like
awesome.
the endorphins that come from that
Yeah.
are pretty, like, it's like a high. It's
Yeah.
like, oh goodness, yes, please.
Yeah.
But it's like a slow gain compared to a quick gain. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, I think about it in terms of like in the gym. If you go for the quick gain, it's usually not the right way.
No.
If you go for the slow gain, it's lifelong. It's going to be better. It's going to be stronger. It's all you do the right steps, and they take a bit of time. Mm-hmm. And I feel that same way when I'm cooling down on the pool deck, as opposed to the cold shower. It's like, okay, mentally, I can get through this. I focus on posture, just like holding myself well while I walk, and not like being defeated of
rounding.
like, oh, I'm so hot, I just want
Yeah.
this to end. You
Tense.
know, it's like, no, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna pass. Just relax. Focus on
Everything.
good walking.
Everything will pass.
Yeah. So there's that I really like, and then I also just take that heat that I have in my body and I stretch on the pool deck.
Nice.
I get a mat, I stretch, I work out, I roll on a field hockey ball, just massage. It's like, it's the best use I can get out of that heat instead of just getting rid of it right away. And I'm not saying that there aren't benefits from the hot and cold. There are. But I just like to access those benefits more for my body.
It's a different direction.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself that you're constantly thinking about self-sufficientness and pushing your body to the limit? I mean, I've heard
No.
you say no,
Not anymore.
not anymore, but you did.
I accept that into who I am, as opposed to focusing it as something I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still in there trying to achieve that.
Sure.
Like I want
good
to
place to
be
be.
self-sufficient. I want to be able to run miles and miles. I want to be able to
Climb Everest.
climb Everest. I want to be able to do things that humans have been doing for the last thousands of years. That's my mentality.
I don't know how many humans have climbed Everest in the last
That
thousands
was it.
of
I was
years.
just gonna say.
Okay, not that,
Successfully.
but like running and like just pushing your body to the limit. I find that's so attractive to me.
I think
And
I take
you
it in a
kinda
different direction now.
Strike me like that.
My direction I take that in is a lot. I relate to it through my diet and food, of like being okay with less
Yeah,
and
that too.
producing my own. I'd rather go in the opposite direction with that frame of mind, as opposed to trying to achieve more, get bigger and better. I want to use that to scale back and like have a smaller footprint in my life. I want to be able to produce what I'm going to consume, so I know where it's coming from, what's been in it. Not only do I get to choose my flavors then, but it's not relying on a food system that's hurting our planet greatly. It's scaling back.
I have a question. It's kind of going different direction than what we just talked about. But when I was talking to you about what you're involved in prior to this podcast, is you brought up food security and sustainability. What are those? And how do they relate? How are they different?
So food security is people having access to food.
Okay.
Good, healthy food. And knowing that it's there. Food sustainability is producing that food in a way that, like, there's always going to be a supply. It's not ruining the world. There's opportunity for everyone to get involved in it, as opposed to it being like, this is my thing.
Right.
You got to pay a lot to get in here. It's not exclusive. It's inclusive. And those aren't definitions that you'll probably find when you look it up. That's not how I get down. So
That's how you perceive it.
yeah, totally. So food security, sustainability, I'll tie that into like my belief in organic farming. I'd rather care for the land that I'm growing on, and also search for other ways of wild crafting and harvesting from the wild. so that I'm not even, having to chop down forest to put a farm in. Like, can I live just out of the forest? That sort of mentality. That's the sustainability. And that's, again, the scaling back as opposed to trying to get more out of it. Like, can I do better with less?
Right.
And then food security is, teaching people, like, if you're going to pick nettles at this time of year, you find a nettle patch. If I find a nettle patch, I pick, 1/5 of it and let the rest go to seed so that it's there again next year.
Not to overpick it, then it's gone.
That's right. So food security also entails that, and the knowledge about sharing that. Food security is seeds and preserving varieties of seeds that benefit humans, as opposed to creating GMO crops, crops that are patented by large corporations that then sell them to farmers and put farmers in debt who try and feed the people. But then, it's just this vicious cycle. So the seeds, open pollinated seeds, means that you can plant a type of lettuce, let it go to seed, and you can have another type of lettuce next to it going to seed as well. They can cross. The one is going to remain the same. It's going to come true again. Not every crop is like that. Some need spacing so that they don't cross. But open pollinated means bugs can come and pollinate it, and you're going to get the same seed back. Whereas lots of crops, GMO crops, hybrid crops, that is not what happens. That's just not how they've been bred to work. So food security is open pollinated seeds and showing people how to do that. When I was a seed saver and someone who sold seeds, I was kind of shooting myself in the foot all the time. And I loved it because I would sell someone a pack of seeds, tell them how to grow them and save their own seeds, and kind of hope I'd never see them again.
You're right.
In a way, like, if you don't come back to me,
Perfect.
you've achieved the goal that I really want. That's what I really want.
I see. Yeah. So that's food security.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
That's definitely part of it. How to prepare your food, how to preserve your food, just securing your own food and those around you, and not relying on others.
Man. Yeah. That's beautiful.
So another question, because these are questions that I wanted to ask you, and we just kind of been flowing. One question is going back to your brother Gary.
Yep.
So tell us, introduce Gary to us.
G Money. Gary's my oldest brother.
Is Gary's birthday next weekend? When's the party?
May 4th.
Okay.
So that's 2 weeks from now, is it not?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Anyways. Yeah, Gary's my oldest brother. He is a staple in Gordon Head. From soccer, the like soccer community, everybody knows him. And the youth in that community know him. The parents are now starting to know him as well, because they were sort of his age going to high school with him in junior high. And now they all own homes and live in the community and recognize him. So he's a person who's recognized and accepted by a lot of people. Gary lives with autism and a couple other learning disabilities, and he's nonetheless for it. He's an amazing guy. He's super sociable. I don't know. What do you want to know about Gary? What do you want me to tell people? I didn't really think about that one.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to know is what have you learned from Gary? And are there stuff that you've learned from Gary that you haven't learned from anybody else? Because that's your older brother, yeah? Because you're going to learn stuff from your older brother, but this is a different scenario when your older brother has disabilities, right?
Sure. I mean, I often refer to my situation with my brothers as my middle brother and I. We were more like older brothers,
right?
Because Gary wasn't that person for us,
right?
He wasn't the guy I looked up to and followed in his footsteps. It just that wasn't the reality of my childhood. But living with Gary has taught me deep patience and compassion, and understanding. I mean, it's taught me like deep caring, and that I would stop at nothing to do something for somebody else, if that's what it called for. Yeah, like I put my life on the line for him, and that's taught me how to do that for anybody.
So the value of giving.
Yeah, for sure, because he can't really do much for himself in that regard, so he's always needed something given to him, and that's become very understood and acceptable for me.
I think you've taken that to your community as well.
Yeah,
In
for
your
sure.
whole life.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a beautiful thing to learn at a young age, because it's something that as time goes on, a lot of people recognize and realize and get into and believe in as life goes on and later in life, and it becomes important more and more as time goes on. I was taught that at a really young age, and have been able to embody it and embrace it in my life and share it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Gary's such a cool person.
Absolutely.
I love
I
Gary.
met him a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, you bet, Gary.
Yeah. Well, you can come to his birthday party if you want.
Yeah.
Are you coming, Brody?
Oh.
Coming.
Yeah.
I think I put maybe, but I'm pretty sure I'm free.
Bring
I'll
bring
Manuel.
Manuel.
Yeah.
May the 4th?
Yes.
Is it May the?
It's strictly
Pretty
the 4th.
sure.
That's the day I'm coming back from Hawaii.
Oh, we have so many things going on in the morning.
Yeah.
What is it in the
I
afternoon?
think it's
No,
afternoon,
May
evening.
the 4th. No, the May the 5th is a Sunday. May the 4th is a Saturday.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it's
right, you're coming
afternoon,
back
evening.
that day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm free that day then.
All right.
Bro, take lots of. Bro will tell me all about it in the next day.
Yeah.
All my bocce game wins.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my favorite part of Gary's birthday party.
Bocce?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we play bocce for hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
does.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have like bocce and then some card games like poker, and then play a game of soccer or something.
Nice.
It's usually how it goes. Lots
Yeah.
of food.
Lots of food. That's awesome.
So, we talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of different things.
A lot of different things. What were the 3 things that you wanted to say to everyone? You just
One of
wanted
the 3
some-
sayings that I
yeah.
sort of embody is all you have to do is believe, learn to love, and timing is everything.
Timing is everything, yeah. That's beautiful. I think that'll be the quote of this episode.
Yeah. 100%.
Um,
I feel like I'm always growing and learning new things to add to that too.
yeah, exactly, right?
Because I didn't have timing is everything in there for the longest time.
And then you just kind of slip it in
That
there.
once it kind of hit home and really resonated with me, I thought, all right, you deserve a place in this in this throne of sayings in my world.
So, what is the plan now for you?
Yeah. And what excites you nowadays?
Well, garlic is exciting these days. I'm really
Well, yeah, you got
passionate
170.
pursuing that. Yeah, and just like
try.
It better excites you because you got a lot of garlic on your hands.
that's right. So the exploration into that business is fun. Having a family is definitely something I've always dreamed of and continue to dream of. So that's an outlook for me. And getting into the woods, living in the woods somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, you want to live in the
Oh,
woods?
yep.
That's
Slowly, like moving my way further and further away from town as
Yeah.
time
Up
goes
island.
on. Yeah, or somewhere else, whatever
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
So you want
Pretty
to build your own
easygoing.
little house? Or what's your...
Yeah, I'm really easy when it comes to that. I'd build my own. I'd take something that's already there.
Yeah.
As long as the situation's right. As long as I can have a family where I am, like I can access work
Yeah.
and support a family where I am.
Yeah.
That's I'll take many
You'll take
situations.
anything.
Yeah.
Is that your plan? To have a family, grow a family?
I mean, it's not really something one can plan for.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't
it just
think
happens
it,
organically.
it
With
either
time.
happens or
Right.
it don't.
Right.
Timing
Yeah.
is
It's something that you would want.
That's right, and
Right.
it takes 2 to tango in that regard. So
Exactly.
it's a bit
Totally.
of both in that regard. But yeah, it's high on my dream list for sure.
It's awesome.
Performing my music is something that I just started to do recently. Like having made hip hop for 20 plus years and never really performing it. It's like, yeah, one of the reasons why I stopped full-time farming was I wanted to give myself the creative energy
Yeah.
and time to create new music and perform it.
Totally.
And so the last 3 years has been creation, and now it's kind of getting into
Time to
performing
rock.
stage. Yeah.
That's
And-
awesome.
And it doesn't have to be anything big. It's just about doing it. I
Just
love it.
getting out
It's so
there.
much fun.
Yeah. Just doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of your clips online. It's good.
Yeah,
I like
come
it.
to a show
I
sometime.
should.
Yeah.
When
I'll
is
let-
your next show?
There isn't a date, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good knowledge in this
What-
podcast about
one-
a lot of things.
One more question, Manny, before we conclude, is I like to ask them, what is your why? What is your overall why?
I think it's going to be a disappointing why.
There
It's
is
more just to be.
to be.
Yeah. Just be yourself.
That's not a disappointing why, because
Yeah.
that's
yourself
that's the
being
most
the now.
honest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a tough question to
It-
really put
yeah,
into
no.
one sentence answer, but
But you did.
Totally.
that's what I'll jump to. That's where
Yeah, and-
my
and-
instinct takes me.
And I think that's a good answer, because it's not complicated. It's not good to overcomplicate things, because then
Yeah.
you're just gonna create problems for yourself
Mm-hmm.
with unrealistic
Goals.
or views or
Mm-hmm.
just being, and then dealing with what comes to you and whatever within your perspective.
Yeah, I think it means to me to be honest with yourself and really look within oneself until the answer's clear about who you are, who I am, and being that, and checking in all the time. Like, am I being who I am? Like,
Yeah.
am I being real? You know? And being real to me isn't like accomplishing certain things. It's about truthfulness and who you are and acting on
100%.
that. Yeah.
I agree.
So, I'm curious. Do you worry about, like you said, living in the woods? That's one of your goals. Do you worry about money at any point on your life, or do you find that you have the skills to provide for your family, your future family?
I think it's required in the world we live in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I work with money and strategize to save,
Yeah.
and ways to not spend it. But it's not my goal. It's not my focus.
It's not your focus.
It's not what drives me. It's a part of what I do. I accept it, and I will accept money into my life as to how it has to be there. But it's more and more something that, if I have a family, I don't want to raise my kids on the values of like money is the most important thing. You don't have to strive to only have money in your life. Like, there's so many other things to enjoy and be involved in and take a part in. As long as money is necessary, focus on it to what's needed, fulfill your needs, but it's
Build
not
your life
about being
around it.
greedy. It's not about building a life around it. I don't want to sit and spend my time following the stock exchange so that I can make some more money. It's just not what drives me. I'd rather die poor at some point in my life than to have spent so much of my lifetime pursuing something that doesn't really drive me or bring so much joy to me.
Yeah. Chasing an imaginary
Yeah.
thing, which is money. Just created out of nothing.
And there you have it. To be. That's what you want to. That's your why. To be.
Yeah.
To be your whole raw, authentic self, and
Maybe in 10 years anniversary when we do this again, it'll be a different one. Who knows?
We're stubborn enough. We'll still be here. We'll be there.
I hope you guys will have a different place and everything by
Yeah.
then. Like upgrade to like
Yeah.
some fancy studio by then.
Our fourth episode we recorded in Manuel's closet.
Yeah.
Because
Who's the poor person that had to sit through that?
no, it was just Brody and I.
It was just Maddie and I in his closet, and his wife and my girlfriend's in the other room because we lost our recording with the Zero Waste Emporium.
Yeah.
Because it was all distorted and warped.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, we need to make an episode. We need to keep the content flowing because it was the startup, right? So we used it. We created it as Facing Adversity 1.
Perfect.
So here we are, recording it a day after we lost our recording, and this is what we're going to release. Cuddled in a closet recording.
Perfect.
But this
It's pretty funny.
podcast is nice. Like I said, it taps into creativity.
Yeah.
And we just got this, and it's kind of funky looking.
Yeah.
A little tripod here.
Yeah. Oh, something that we like to do at the end is ask you if you have any questions for us.
Honestly, nothing's jumping at me.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. You guys are off the hook.
Dope.
Off the hook. Yeah.
Off the
We need a video of that.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
Hopefully in the future we'll have some
You know
video.
what that reference is from?
No.
Grind. Have you
No.
seen the movie
I
Grind?
don't think so.
It's like a 2002 movie
I don't think
with
so.
Tom Green, the comedian.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, anyways, it's fucking hilarious.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's
Cool.
a wrap.
That's a wrap, folks.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing all the knowledge about everything about farming, life, being your whole authentic raw self.
Yeah, and being honest with us.
Being
'Cause that's
honest.
what-
Pleasure.
That's
Yeah,
what
thanks
we
for
like to
having
do.
me. Yeah.
It's a
Cheers.
beautiful conversation, and I hope that people take it in and
Yeah.
take, like you said, you can take in little bunches, and it might resonate with you in 10 years. You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you. If you like this podcast, you can listen to us at adventuringforknowledge.com. Also in iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all the podcasting apps. We have a YouTube channel now. There's no videos, it's just a recording. Hopefully some videos
We'll put the off the hook video up there.
Exactly. And thank you to our editor.
Mr. Trainer Peters,
You're doing a great job, buddy.
keep it up.
Yeah. And thank you so much for listening. And if you want to contact us, we love talking to anyone here in the community or outside. Hopefully some Skype interviews coming up.
Yes, I think we have a couple planned
Yeah.
in for May.
Yeah. We have a lot of recording episodes coming up. So stay tuned and have a beautiful day.
Enjoy.
And just be yourself.
And never stop adventuring for knowledge.
You got it. See
Cheers.
you later, guys. And please remember to be active in your community. Brody, come on. Keep going.
Remember to smile.
Remember to be kind and respect yourself, others, animals, and a beautiful planet.
And please, never stop adventuring for knowledge.
Until next time.
Peace.